I had Gary's old one. It was like
Yeah, it sucked.
It was like 10 years old.
Lumbar just.
All right.
You live.
Why am I small? How do I make myself bigger?
That one.
That one?
Nope.
That one?
Just your finger.
That might be delayed.
Now it's full screen. Sorry, guys, if you can't tell, we've never done this before. All right. I joined the room. There we go.
Nice.
All right. Okay. YouTube. We're waiting. Sorry, everyone. This is the first time we've done this, so we're trying to figure it out as we go. One second. Sorry, everyone. We have technical difficulties on our YouTube side of things. We're trying to solve that right now because we're trying to do a dual stream. So we have everyone that registered, and then we'll have people flow in from YouTube as well. So let me figure that out. We'll get this thing rolling. Sorry, everyone's still figuring it out. One second. All right. It took a little bit, but we figured it out. So thank you guys for joining us today. This is Taking a Break with Detroit Speed, Inc. We're just trying to break things up, get a little more engaged with everyone while everyone's going through this this quarantine, whether you're working from home or if you're still at work. We definitely appreciate what everyone's doing. So what we're doing today is I am Alex Stivoletti. I run social media and website for Detroit Speed. You may have seen me in some of our videos. And on the other screen, you'll see our sales and technical engineer. Yeah, engineer. That's the word. That's the word I'm looking for. Yeah. So our sales and technical engineer, Dan Oddy, and then a project fabricator, Matt Butts. He used to maintain and build all of our test vehicles as well. Vehicles like the DSCZ, which is always a popular vehicle. And what we're doing today is a Q&A. So we made a post on social media over the weekend. If you had any questions, we wanted to hear from you and just kind of give you an opportunity to ask us something directly and we can answer you right back. So that's probably how we'll start out today. We'll do the Instagram questions that we had received over the weekend. And then also we have our chat function. So if anyone has any questions throughout this stream, go ahead and ask your question. We'll flag it for the guys over there so they can go ahead and get you an answer. So we'll get started. So I'm going to go ahead and turn the audio over to Dan and Matt, and we'll get going.
Here we go, audio. All right, how's that working?
Sweet, full screen.
Nice. Cool.
All right, let's make
Jerry's
gonna
gonna
break the chair. Make sure, can we hear?
Testing.
All right, everyone in the chat, can you hear those guys?
We can't see the chat board.
You, click the chat. There's a chat button.
Right there. Okay,
Hey,
chatter.
nice.
Wait, there it comes. Recognize some names there.
Brandon Wiedemann.
Old
Yep.
Brandon.
All right. Okay, good audio.
Oh.
All right, we are good then.
That Mullinex was that.
Oh man, you'll be in her office on Monday. All right.
Get out of here.
Okay, so the first question I have here from Instagram, it says Project 89 Bird, which right off the bat, third gen. We know that.
Score.
Yep.
So, what suspension do you recommend for a beginner third gen Firebird build?
That one, I mean,
Yeah.
rear link kit and drop springs are always super good, easy right off the bat. You know, they're pretty affordable. The rear links on those cars are super flimsy. The bushings are usually wore out, so that's probably my pick.
Yeah, nice thing with the third gen is that we got a lot of bolt-in stuff, and then we got the more hardcore welding stuff. So,
True.
like even with my car, you know, we just put springs and shocks in it. We got that nice weight jack kit, and then the swivel links for the back was a huge upgrade because mine were all frozen up, and we had to saw them out of there anyways to get them in there.
Yeah.
So, swivel links are good. Of course, the front and rear bar. You know, the front bar's pretty beefy compared to the stock one. And we got that extra wonder bar, they call it, in there to give you some more structure up there. So it's a lot of nice bolt-on stuff. And then, like I said, if you want to go a little more hardcore, like Matt's installed the Quadrlink in some cars here, and it's in the subframe connectors reinforce that rocker panel area. So we give you good range, but definitely for starting, I mean, the lower control arm, the springs and shocks, and the swivel links in the back with the bars, that's a pretty good start.
Yeah.
You probably have that, like
just
a speed kit one even.
Most all the bolt-in stuff.
Yeah.
That's the nice thing is it can all be bought kind of piecemeal.
Yeah.
So
Right.
kind of as you have time or can afford it, you know, you can buy the links, buy the control arms, and all that stuff can be done in several hours in the garage. So it's not a huge commitment right off the bat, which is really nice.
Yep. Go on your budget and then spend a weekend. A few months later, save up some more money, buy some more parts, and by the time you're done, you'll have a pretty hot third gen.
Yep, like Dan Oddy.
I mean, and honestly, for what your car is, and just the fact that you've been daily driving it, how many years now?
Yeah, 20 some years now I've had it. Good buddy just painted it, so now she's all shiny.
Yeah.
So it's always had good suspension in it. We used it for development when we first started the third gen 6 years ago or so.
Mm-hmm.
Did the bolt-on stuff with it and got the drop spring rates dialed in and things like that. And I've been, since I moved down, started working at Detroit Speed 11 plus years ago, it's been my only car I've had. So it's a pretty fun driver.
Yeah. Now, especially with that new shiny paint job.
Yeah, man.
Looks good,
Gets
sounds
attention
good,
now.
perfect stance.
I mean, really, truly for a daily, it's super nice.
Yeah. Very happy with it.
So let's hop on to the questions in our Q&A. So we have Eric here. He wants to know, what is the best way to measure the width of his rear end if it needs to be cut?
As far as an overall width, I mean, typically all your measurements are always taken axle flange to axle flange, and then, you know, narrowed from there accordingly. Typically you want to have the wheels that you're using that will be your final wheels. So, you know, that determines your overall axle width. you don't necessarily want to cut the axle and then order wheels.
So he did mention he has a 5.5-inch backspace. Not sure what vehicle he's working on, but at least essentially he knows he has the wheels, he knows his backspace. So you're going to want to measure axle flange to axle flange to kind of figure out the happy medium to where that wheel will fit, correct?
Yeah, and typically what we'll do is, we buy the wheels and the backspace and the offset that we want, and we'll actually put the wheels up underneath the car without the axle in it. So that way you can center the wheels in the wheel wells, basically giving yourself clearance to your fender lips and to whatever's on the inboard side. So once you're happy with where they're located in the wheelhouse, then you can just pull a measurement from your inside wheel flange to inside wheel flange, and then you cut your axle according to that dimension. So
perfect. It's a good one. I'm just fishing through here. I mean, we have a lot of comments flowing through. Let's hop back on to Instagram questions. So, in for the action, good username. What is the first change one can make to an older car to really give you confidence going down the road? So essentially, we have multiple different levels of, what you can do as far as what your budget may be. But the first change, what do you guys recommend? What is the first change you want to make on a car to really kind of bring it into the 21st century?
I mean, certainly back in the 60s and 70s, the muscle cars, the control arms, were just stamped, and there wasn't a whole lot of good geometry put into them. So, I mean, once you get your ride height set, if you're happy with that, we always tell people the tubular upper and lower control arms are kind of your best bang for your buck, especially the upper, because of the geometry changes we've made, where we put more caster camber, different curves into it. So to me, if I had an older car that had basically stock suspension, I'd be looking at some front suspension stuff like the control arms, sway bar. Of course, power steering is kind of a big part of that too. So, which we kind of incorporate in a lot of kits that we put together. So, definitely, ride height, and then definitely some better control arms. Same thing, leaf springs or something for the back too, just to get it to handle better and not drive around like a boat on the road, so. Yeah,
just something to essentially, lower the ride height, kind of tighten everything up.
Yep.
If you're driving, if you have an old muscle car that you're driving, depending on how long it's been sitting or truly how old it is, I mean, you got to think about how old the bushings may be.
Yeah.
If you're running stock control arms that may have had bushings changed
50 years old.
The 70s or 80s, I mean, you put something in there like a Delrin bushing, it really makes a huge difference.
I said you could throw bushings and ball joints in all day and spend hundreds of dollars doing that, or just get an upgraded control arm. It's tubular, lightweight. You're getting premium ball joints and bushings that we assemble all the control arms with. So just save yourself some time and money and just get what you need.
Exactly.
I think pretty much at the same time, you want to be doing all your updating all your suspension, or not suspension, but your steering components.
Yeah.
Like your center link and your tie rod ends and all that stuff, because that is a lot of your feel that you get on the road, through the steering wheel. So if you've got a center link or tie rod ends that are just completely wore out, I mean, no matter how nice some of your front end components are, if the steering's worn out, that's all you're going to feel. So
a lot of people probably overlook the steering side of it, but it's not just suspension. You got to have the steering to go along with it. And again, we can help you. We have service kits we put together for your vehicle, to go along with your suspension components. So it's a good upgrade.
Awesome. So we have Eric here again on the mini tub kit. This should be a pretty quick answer for you guys, because especially you, Matt. This is something that we use in all of the project vehicles. On our mini tub kit, how highly would you recommend the trunk closeout kit?
As far as the corner pieces,
yes.
I mean, we use them a ton. They're super awesome to gain a little bit of extra exhaust clearance. If you start trying to run dual 3-inch stainless out of the back of a lot of these cars, especially with any type of 4-link, you'll really, really appreciate having that little bit of extra room just right there to get by the fuel tank and the track bar bracket and all that stuff. So, and we pretty much use it on almost every car that goes out here at this point, to some extent. So I would, for the price and the ease of them, highly recommend it.
Yeah, I mean, it's a $47 part.
We
sell.
We put a little kit together. You can put it on any car, and like I said, give yourself some exhaust clearance, because
if not, it gets to be some tricky bends to get the tailpipes out right there.
Right. So essentially just giving you more clearance, make sure that there's no impedance. Let's see other questions we have here. telling you, Eric's on a hot streak here. Front speed kit 1 on a first gen Camaro. Does he also need the camber shim track kit, or is that just a recommended?
Yeah, it's
part?
recommended. I mean, I think we give you a couple shims for them. You know, take the alignment shop. I mean, the camber shim track kit we did is really just kind of a nice one-piece shim that you can make quick changes with. If you're not happy with the way the camber's set at, you can just throw another shim in or take a shim out, instead of kind of dealing with those clumsy little shims that you got to deal with on each bolt. This is just, it's one shim that covers both upper controller and bolts.
Yeah. Rather than like a shim you'd see in a body shop.
Yeah,
they're
definitely an upgrade, and
Yeah.
something you don't have to have, but it's definitely nice to have.
Yeah. It would make, if you're someone that's either going to the track often, or maybe if it's a street car and you want to take it to the track and you want to go ahead and get that a little bit of camber gain, it is a nice product to have to make that easier.
Yeah.
So essentially, it's like Dan said, it's not an essential product, but it'll make life a lot easier for you.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And then we have Dean here, morning from Oklahoma. So he wants to know about the steering box, the 600 steering gear.
Yeah.
He has a 1970 Chevelle. So do we want to touch on a little more details about the performance of that over the OEM steering box?
Yeah, we can. I mean, it's actually a pretty good product for us. I got one on my 3rd gen. It's one of the first things we did. But especially with the older cars from the 60s and 70s, ours is 12.7 to 1. It's kind of got more like a rack and pinion feel to it. A lot of guys have their stock 69 Camaro subframe and want to throw a bolt-on rack in there, but they don't fit good. They upset your bump steer. So that's why we have that upgraded steering box to kind of give you that rack and pinion feel, but using steering box and not having any bump steer issues. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, it's a kit we use quite a bit. Like I said, I got one in my car. We actually increased the feel of it a little bit too. So it's got a pretty good sports car feel effort in the steering wheel, which I like personally, and I think most people that like taking turns fast like as well. So
right. And compared to the day before you swapped out the box, how did your factory steering box feel before you swapped over? I mean, this is a car you drive every single day.
Yeah, the 3rd gen ones actually aren't too bad from the factory, but they're definitely a lot looser. They have that loose feel to it,
Play on center.
Yeah, exactly. Like when I turn my wheel and you start to straighten out, it kind of snaps back to center, which is nice. Mm-hmm. I've always liked that feel out of them cars, but certainly on the 1st gens and 2nd gens, your Novas or Chevelles, any of them certainly could use an upgrade, the steering box that we offer, and make a huge difference.
And that kind of
drives.
That touches back on the point we made earlier with one of the previous questions. What upgrades should you make to your car?
Yeah, for sure.
If it's a car you're just driving on the weekends, or even if you want to daily drive it, steering, definitely a new steering box is on the list. And just a couple more notes about our steering boxes. It's an all new steering gear unit. These aren't rebuilt units. They're 6 pounds lighter than stock. The original power pitman arm may be used on it. So we also sell a rag joint that goes along with this kit as well. And we have, different options as far as steering steering
whatever
shafts
column you got, if it's an aftermarket or stock.
Exactly.
Get the rag joint or
And another point on steering too. We actually have a video coming out tomorrow. Dan did with us a couple weeks ago talking about steering shafts. So we have a few different options for you to kind of get a little more detail on some of our products. So that's a good answer on that one. Thank you, Dean. Let's see. Let's go to an Instagram question. We have Merlin 1871. He says, I have a 63 Nova with your wheel tubs. What length should my rear end be to get the max tire underneath?
Yeah, that's something that, we definitely get that question for all the vehicles a lot for. And we're using our mini tubs, and same thing like Matt talked about. We always kind of measure axle flange to axle flange. And when we give you that number, we also are incorporating the rotor thickness, so you don't have to worry about that. We factor that into our numbers. But on the early Novas, with our mini tubs, we usually recommend a 52 1/4 inch length from outer axle flange to outer axle flange. And that'll get you, I think it's an 18 by 10 with like a 5-inch backspace.
And about a 295, I think.
Yeah, 295 fits good on that 10-inch. It's like our Novas pretty well got that same setup, really.
Yeah, especially for a 63, because I know the 63s you can fit. I don't think
62 to 65.
The later ones.
Yeah, 6 and 7s you can go a little bit. You can go to a 315 easily.
Yeah, the early cars 295 is pretty much as big as you want to go.
That's maxed.
And even though, I mean, you think about it, in our
Yeah.
terms, in our world, we're so
Right.
used to 335s, 315s.
Yeah.
But I mean,
You're talking about a little Nero
290
Nova.
295 on
Yeah.
such a small car,
Yeah.
and that is it's a lot of tire.
Yep.
And even our 63 with a
Yeah.
LS7, and it's
Yeah.
still plenty of tire to break them loose and have a little fun.
Oh, yeah.
But you can still have some grip.
Yeah, it's a fun car.
So we have a comment here on YouTube. Scott Dillon, he says, "Hey guys, I have a 66 Nova. Bought Detroit Speed front and rear suspension, mini tubs, and subframe connectors." So he pretty much got the catalog.
Yeah.
He just says, "I am so pleased with how well everything fit. Cars coming out awesome." So that's just a good comment, not necessarily a question, but thank you, Scott. If you actually want to go ahead and email us some photos of your car and a little bit of your progress, we'd love to check it out. But we are glad you're satisfied with it. And that goes for everyone. I know one of the questions on here from Instagram was, what do I have to do to get my car featured on our social media as a customer build? That's pretty simple. Doesn't matter what form of social media you're on. All you have to do is send us a message, whether it's a DM or a private message. Just send us some high resolution photos of your car. Maybe give us a little bit of backstory. We love sharing what our customers build. And I know, Dan, when you were working in the sales room, you'd always have customers email in showing off photos.
Oh, yeah.
We love seeing when you guys are working on at home.
Yep.
So that's all you have to do. Just send us a message, and we'd be happy to check it out, give you some compliments, share some stuff. And if you ever have any questions, just reach out. We'll make sure we get it handled. Let's see. So many questions. I did not expect this many questions to come in. Let's see. I guess that's George. He says, what rear shocks would you recommend with the Speed Kit 3 using JRI coilovers in stock? Hold on. Oh, okay. So it looks like he has what will we recommend? Oh, it's moving. Where'd it go?
Lost it.
I know, I lost it.
Next.
There it is. Okay. So he is a first gen non-mini tub leaf spring car. So on the Speed Kit 3 with 3-inch drop leaves, he's currently running Coney Reds.
Okay.
He said, what rear shocks would you recommend?
So it's not a mini tub?
Kit? It's a non-mini tub car.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, that's the red Conies is kind of what we've been offering, using, and selling for a number of years with no problems or issues. So I mean, Coney makes a good shock. So front and rear, they're good. I mean, so the mini tub we used to do a yellow Coney, but just for a non-mini tub leaf spring car, the red Conies are fine. Yeah.
Okay. So there you go, George. You're good with what you have.
Yeah.
So we have another one here. Mark Powell. Looks like he's running into a little bit of clearance issues. So let's see. He's having a complete Detroit Speed system installed on a 70 Mach Mustang at Turnkey in Joshua, Texas. All of the parts are coming from Detroit Speed, and he's doing a 3rd gen Coyote swap. Alumiframe and mini tubs are installed, and they're seeing issues with oil filter and possibly headers. Can you describe any issues that we may have seen in this conversion?
That's a tough one.
It is. Yeah, the Gen 3 stuff's still pretty new, so there's not a lot of good aftermarket stuff that we've run into.
Is that a profab header for those that we
It would be.
offer? I guess the first thing is, does he have our headers, or
Mhm.
is it another company? I mean, even if it's another company, we've modified headers before to make them
Right.
fit.
Okay.
The packaging using any of the mod motors in the early Mustangs is insanely tight.
Yeah, it
I
is
mean,
very, very tight.
Yeah.
I know even Mark, he did that mod motor, the AccuFab motor in Larry's car, which is
Mhm.
also a 70, but he had to make his own headers. But the headers that we offer that were built, we design them. Profab manufactures them. They are designed to fit Coyotes with our Alumiframe. So that is the first question we have for you, Mark, is, what headers are you using? So if you don't mind, just go ahead and send us an email, either sales@detroitspeed.com or tech@detroitspeed.com. We'd love to discuss this a little more in depth and kind of find out what you're using and see what else we can do. And as far as, oil filter, that might just be a situation where you use a remote, like a remote hookup.
Mhm.
yeah,
You know,
we've
I know there's
definitely
plenty of
done
people
that
that offer that.
before,
Yeah.
especially if we're plumbing oil coolers and things like that.
Mhm.
Sometimes the remote filter makes more sense anyway.
Mhm.
You can put it at a spot that's a lot easier to access. That way you're not having to get all the way under the car.
Exactly.
We've
Right.
mounted them off the side of the inner fender aprons and stuff like that. So that
Perfect.
would just be preference there.
Yeah. So Mark, definitely reach out to us, and
Yeah.
we'd love to try and remedy that for you. We have another question here from John McIntyre. What mods are needed to the inner fender of the 67 Camaro to fit the hydroform subframe? Are there any modifications necessary for inner fenders? I think it would just be whether you're looking for a larger wheel and tire clearance, as if you were.
Well, I mean, I know they put that little rubber shield on it there by the upper control arm. I know sometimes you got to trim those, obviously, because you're
Right. Okay. Yep. I know exactly what you're talking
done a little bit
about.
of that. But as far as actual sheet metal work, I don't think.
The only thing that I could think of is it may be tight right around the upper control arm opening.
Right.
We have enlarged those before just to make it easier to work on. Not saying that it couldn't be run like it is, but you know, in all of our builds, it's just something we like to do, is just open that whole relief up around the upper control arm. So if you want to bust the control arm loose or make caster adjustments or things of that nature, it's just easier to do. But other than that, I would think that it goes right in without modification.
Perfect. So there you go, John. Let's see. So here's a good question. This is an Instagram question from Ben and Ellie Daddy. The question is, I have a 65 Mustang and I want to install subframe connectors. Do you have a set to install without mini tubbing or changing the torque boxes? So let's kind of talk about our subframe connectors for Mustangs, because I know you don't. I know right off the bat you don't need a mini tub of car to put subframe connectors in. So you want to touch on that a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, we if you're just doing connectors and not doing the quadrolink, you would need a torque box, which we can offer you. Or if you're just doing a completely stock suspension, we actually have a little different part number for that kit. But to do our connectors, you will need a torque box. If you're going to do our quadrolink, you'll get a torque box with that. So it depends which way you're going to go with the rear suspension. But like Alex said, you definitely don't need to mini tub it. But you will need a torque box, kind of depending on what your plan is for the rear suspension. So
perfect. Also, guys, I just want to say, Kyle Tucker, the owner and president of Detroit Speed, he is actually in this chat as well. Some of you are asking some questions, and he's going right back and just kind of typing up his answers back to you. So he's kind of trying to help us out a little bit with all these questions. So thank you, Kyle. So if we don't get to your question immediately, Kyle Tucker is here, and he's answering questions as well. So we're doing our best to make sure we hit everything. So thank you guys for kind of helping us out here. Let's see. Scott Dillon on YouTube, he's asking, this is the guy with the Nova as well. So he's saying, when are you going to come out with motor mounts for the Gen 5 LT platform? Is that something that we have in the works?
We've kind of talked about it a little bit. I mean, right now, a couple of guys have used a Holly kit.
Yeah, I mean, we've used the Holly kit here in the shop before, which all the Holly and hooker stuff is extremely nice. So,
and we do offer all of it on the website as well. So I'm pretty sure we have those motor mounts on our website.
Yeah, we can get them through Holly for you. We've looked at making them too, but Holly's got something pretty decent right now. So we're kind of moving on to different things that we want to tackle for now.
Yep.
Right. Yeah, and you know, we have plenty of different partners that we work with, and Holly is a key one of them. We offer their products as well. So even if you don't see it on our website, if you guys give us a call, and you know, you could pretty much buy everything for your project through us. So just give us a call, and you know, we'd be happy to get you on the track, you know, the right track with Scott. You know, we do recommend the Holly LT engine mounts. What are you guys laughing at over there?
Oh, just reading Cal's comments.
He's got plenty of.
No, he's doing. I see his name flying up there, so doing good.
Let's see. So here's another one. Any chance of 67 to 70 Cougar tubs or leaf springs on the mini tub currently offered for the Mustang?
That's a Mark McDonald question right
It
here.
is a Mark McDonald question.
I mean,
So several people have used our Mustang tubs in the Cougars. Don't know that they directly go in.
Yeah, I mean the Mustang wheel tub mini tubs are actually pretty round, so you guys can manipulate them to different vehicles. But I know when talking to Mark, I think the big difference is behind the back seat. That floor pan, I think, is a little bit longer by a few inches. So for the leaf spring, you probably would have to run a different leaf spring just for that length, unless you made some changes to how they mount. But
currently it doesn't seem like.
Yeah.
I mean, as far as making an actual kit for it, that's something we probably won't do immediately.
Yeah.
But like I said, people have Mark McDonald, who works here, has done a set on his personal car, and then we have had several
Yep.
other customers with Cougars that have also made the tubs work. And then just depending where you go from there, Mark did the quad link in his car. So he's pretty crafty, so
Yep.
he
We
does
can always
that
bug
type
him
of
if you got questions later
Yeah.
on. We can tackle him, and he'll be happy to talk about his cougar.
stuff. Yeah.
Oh
sure.
yeah, of course. We'll have to get him in one of these.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So another question that's come across, a few people are rebounding on each other on recess park wiper kits.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of a big one that I know, I get that question a
Yep.
lot.
We get a few guys that are waiting for him for sure.
Exactly. So where do we currently stand on recess park wiper kits?
Yeah, we kind of had something on the drawing board that we did some prototypes with, and kind of had it working in Kyle's 70 Camaro, but it wasn't something we could adapt into the Chevelle platform. That holding the firewall's a little bit different, so we kind of had to go back to the drawing board. But then we kind of got sidetracked off that. But it's definitely on the list, and I know there's a lot of people that want them, and it was a good kit when we had it, so we definitely want to get back to it. It's just finding the right motor to do what we needed to do and have a nice simple kit with linkage and getting those wiper arms to recess. The Chevelle application's a little more difficult because they got that big chrome strip at the bottom of the windshield that we need to get that arm really to move quite a bit to park down. So
Right.
definitely still on the list. But yeah, I mean,
That's really all the update we have now.
Yeah, nothing firm.
Yeah, it is one of those things where, we do have a lot of new applications in the works. We're talking about, the C10 square body suspension, and, we're kind of trying to backdate and get the earlier C10 stuff taken care of as well. And, that'll bring us into the next question that we have here is, I was told you guys are currently developing rear suspension for a Fox body. He wants to know, are we looking at front suspension options or anything else with that chassis? So I don't want to go too in depth with this one, but we can just say that yes, we are working on Fox body.
Yep.
So you kind of want to touch on some of the things we are doing, definitely.
Yeah, kind of
detail, but what are we working on?
Yeah, the first wave of stuff we're working on, they'll probably be closest to being done will be the subframe connectors, which are much needed. We kind of saw what was out there in the market and kind of went above and beyond like we tend to with stuff, and made a really nice connector with the torque box, and it fits really good, and there's no ground clearance issues, and
It's a lot more in depth than a lot of the stuff out there.
Yeah, it's a pretty well thought out kit.
Super good price point for as nice as it is as well.
Yeah, another good bang for your buck part. But we're also doing a mini tub kit, a nice stamped mini tub like we do for the other cars. That's in the works, and then we're also working on a quadrelink setup. So that will be the first wave of parts we'll have here this year, and then of course we'll try to drift forward to the front for you guys that'll want that. So that'll be the phase 2, I guess. So,
So yeah, essentially, we're working on it. We're hitting a few different key components first, and then eventually we should have a full line for all you Fox body guys, and especially with 3rd gen and G bodies and everything becoming so popular now on pro touring, and everyone they're still affordable. So Fox body is just one of those applications where they're gaining in popularity. So
yeah, the mini tubs. I mean, you guys have seen what our quality of stampings are, so I've kind of seen some pictures, and it looks really good. The Fox body mini tub, so it's going to be, I think, pretty hot to get out there. So
be a little bit nicer than your drag race stuff.
What we're used to seeing out the drag strip or even in the car show. We pop the trunk and put a couple of fire barrels welded in there.
Exactly.
So
yeah,
we got something nice coming for you. So
perfect. So another question coming back to steering. This is on the 600 steering gear. How many turns lock to lock do you get with that box on a 3rd gen?
It's about 2.5 lock to lock.
That's from Jay. I'm assuming this is Jay Hahn.
Oh.
We're just gonna guess it because I know he was telling me
We should have one, doesn't
a
he?
steering body. He said he's looking for one. That's
he needs
probably
one.
next.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah,
He also says, what is it like with it in the autocross and road course duty?
Yeah, that I can't speak to because they don't let me on the autocross track for obvious reasons. Like I said, I've done some hot rodding in our country roads here with my car, and 2.5 turns is lock to lock. So obviously you're not doing that when you're driving for the country roads there, but
especially even not on the road course.
I mean, it's really
autocross. Autocross and turnaround in parking lots is where the lock to lock. But a lot of guys that are running autocross are going to 10-to-1 boxes now. So
true. But I mean, like to answer your question, it's about 2.5 turns with a normal size steering wheel, not the old
Yeah.
It's a 60s.
little Grant.
Big 15-inch weight.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think the steering gear is probably one of my favorite products here since I've started working here. Definitely a good kit to bolt on and make the car act totally different steering wise. So definitely a good one.
Well, especially just again getting a fresh box on it that's not
not worn out.
doesn't have a bunch
Right.
of slop off
Exactly.
the center. So
Yeah,
know.
just that tight steering feel. It gives you more confidence in driving. And for the autocross, you know, one less thing to worry about. You know, it's going to do what it needs to do out there. So
Exactly. So here's another steering question from Arnaldo. My steering shifts from side to side while driving. It's been sitting for a year or so. Any recommendations on what to look at to remedy the issue? So I guess, I could look at this two ways. Is it maybe an alignment issue, or is it something that could be worn out that's causing it to the steering to shift?
I guess the first thing would be, you know, what exactly does he mean by shift, and is it a rack or is it a factory steering box?
That is true. That's another key thing to
depends
ask.
on the car, but
So
something sounds loose.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
So-
Yeah. So that might be, you know, if it's a factory steering box car, then, you know, just look at, you know, bushings and make sure everything's greased up and nothing's loose. That would be where you should start. But yeah, like Matt said, that depends on, you know, what you describe as the steering shifting. So Arnaldo, definitely reach out to us, send us an email, give us a call, and we'd love to talk through that a little more with you and kind of see what you're experiencing there and see how we can help you out with that. Let's see. I already answered that one.
Kyle's answering questions too fast. We're gonna run out.
I know.
Yeah.
I keep looking at this and like every question
I know
that
it.
I'm going to click on, Kyle's already hitting them all there.
Yeah, whatever feed we got going here, he's in there.
So here's another question. This is from Mike. The best rear suspension for a twin turbo big block 74 Nova.
Wow, that's fun.
So
Depends what you're doing with the car, I guess.
exactly. So I mean, instantly when I think twin turbo big block, I'm thinking drag racing.
Yeah.
But I mean, I guess we could look at this two different ways because you
Could be
know,
a drag week car, could be just a
mhm,
you know,
could be just a
depends on the tire
really
you're using,
fast
you know,
street
I mean.
car. So 74 Nova. What do you recommend for rear suspension?
Well, obviously our quad link is going to be the best thing we have for your car. Again, depending what you're doing with it, we've had some people kind of even adapt our quad link more for drag racing with a sticky tire. Guys going say in like the mid 9s and the quarter mile, you know, they're doing a little bit different stuff with the bushings, maybe a little more shock travel, more of a drag race setup that they've been able to use our quad link and get what they needed to. So, I mean, with that kind of horsepower, you're up there. So
Yeah, definitely want a 9-inch or 12 bolt for
Yeah.
sure
something strong.
at that point.
Yeah, but again, depends. You know, if it's a drag car or just a street tire car, kind of depend what direction to go in. You know.
But either way, I mean, we have options for it.
Yeah, like I said, the quad link's definitely our best option for you. No doubt.
Definitely.
So
So reach out and see if
Yep.
we can get you set up.
get that swivel link performance.
Exactly. So another question here from Russ. How much caster do Detroit Speed control arms on a 66 A body allow?
Probably, I mean, we always try to hit about 6 degrees of positive caster.
Mm-hmm.
Without looking at the chart there for that particular car,
Mm-hmm.
I would say between 5.5 and 6.5 is.
Okay.
We
So
usually
let's-
give you a range, you know.
Let's talk about the benefit of added caster.
Mhm.
What would that do for you?
Well, I mean, it helps with turning. I mean, again, if you're going to compete with the car, it seems like autocross, the more caster you add to these cars, the better they respond.
Yeah, you get a better steering feel. Your return to center is
Mhm.
better if you like that. I mean, it definitely, like you said, we shoot for 6 degrees, 7 degrees, and
Yeah.
it seems to be the happy medium for most everything we do.
Mhm.
So it definitely improves. The feel is the biggest thing for me.
Yeah.
Even
Oh,
just
yeah.
cruising down the road, you know, you got something that has no caster in it.
Right.
It drives terrible. It
Yes.
feels like you're going to run off in the
Yes, it
ditch.
does.
You know,
Yeah.
so especially lifted trucks, you know, a lot of people get into
Oh,
that
yeah.
when you lift truck and you lose all caster. You know,
Right.
you go to 0 degrees and then the thing
Yeah.
just wanders all over the place.
Yeah.
So
Again, it gives you that confidence in driving to have at least 4 degrees of I mean, even at 4 degrees, you're going to feel something more than, you know, let's say a stock 2 or 3 degree setup. But yeah, I mean, depending on, I guess, bolt-on control arms and with our upper and lower control arm with this Chevelle and that forged spindle we do, you're probably about 6 degrees is a nice number to shoot for. So
Cool. So we have another question. 65 to 70 Mustang bolt-on suspension. What happened with development?
What happened?
What happened? Well, so we don't need to discuss what happened, but we can discuss what is happening.
What is going to happen? Yeah.
So
No,
let's
that's
go ahead and let's touch on that a little bit.
yeah. I mean, from the engineering side, like I said, we have our little 65 test car. We quick whipped up a French suspension for, along with our mini tub leaf spring kit. Again, the mini tub's not exactly bolt-on, but it's kind of more of the entry-level setup. But there are on the list here, once we kind of get over this Fox body here, we'll probably get back on that front suspension once we get some guys freed up doing projects we're working on right now. So maybe later this year and in 2020 here, we can dive back into that. And
Nice thing is the shop car has a lot of miles on it now.
It does,
on
yeah.
the prototype
Definitely.
suspension. So
Yep. I think when we bolted that on, I drove up to Columbus there for good guys.
yeah, yeah. Kyle
maiden
drives
voyage.
a lot, so I mean,
That's a good little car.
I wouldn't doubt it's got probably 5,000 or 10,000 miles on it.
Yeah. And we can't exactly go to production with what's on that car, so we'll have to do some more tweaking and get it more production friendly. But I'm sure it'll handle just as good as that thing, if
Yeah.
not better.
And I
Once
mean,
we dive into it.
I drove that car to Columbus
Yeah.
and back, and it handles amazing.
Yeah, it's a formidable
especially
car.
since we put that Holly Sniper on it.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we calculated it got like 19, 20 miles per gallon
Oh,
on the
shit,
highway.
yeah.
So
Yep.
yeah, I mean, it handles amazing. It's a great car. So yeah, we'll definitely be hitting the early stuff soon. So be on the lookout for that. We'll keep you guys updated on the progress as we make some. So I just wanted to take a second just to let you guys know, everyone that is watching on webinar, we have an offer for you. If you click the offers tab, everyone that is on this webcast, if you use the code webcast, all capital WEBCAST, up until April 20th, we're giving you 10% off your next order. So if you guys want to use that code webcast on the website, or if you call in and just make that mention, we're giving you guys 10% off. So even everyone that's listening there on YouTube, just everyone in general on this webcast, use that code webcast for 10% off your next order. So we definitely want to thank you guys for tuning in and make sure you guys get a good deal. So let's check out some more questions we have going on here. Here's a good one. Square body C10. Any details on what we may be doing for the front suspension? You kind of want to tease a little bit of that.
Yeah, I said we came up with the rear stuff in the fall, so we definitely need some front to go with it.
So what is the rear? What do we make for the rear suspension?
It's basically, we do a bolt-in or weld-in quad-link system with the swivel links with it. Again, the weld-on bolt-on difference is the axle brackets. We have a bolt-on and the weld-on if a guy's doing something new, 9-inch or something. But yeah, I mean, it's a nice little simple kit. We've installed them on a couple trucks here. So it's swivel links, JRI, coilover shock upgrades, to go right to a 3-inch axle too. So when you use stock or upgrade to a 9-inch or something, you can do that.
Right, and if you upgrade, that's where the weld-in brackets come good into play. Because I mean, if you're already building an axle, you might as well weld them in there. Make it look nice and clean.
Yep.
So then for the front, what are we looking at for what we're doing up there?
Yeah, we're getting closer on that. So we got kind of like a replacement cradle or key member for it, really. Stock one drops right out, the new one bolts right in. You get the coilover shocks and springs, the nice rack and pinion that those trucks really need.
Tubular control arms, and like I said, coilovers. The whole assembly is super user friendly. Everything unbolts real nice and easy. Coilovers drop out of it super easy.
Yeah, you drop the coilover without unhooking any bolts or anything, so it's really nice. We've done it. The other cool thing we're doing too is we're doing a forged aluminum upright for it with a hub pack. So to kind of give you that more modern system, and we found some really affordable truck brakes to go with it too. We got the Bears and Willwoods and APs, but you also can do a kind of more of a stock upgrade to that truck, to a larger rotor.
Yeah, like something if you need to maintain it, you can just go to the go to your parts
simple auto
store
parts
and
stuff.
pick some stuff up.
Just basic late model OEM brakes, which nowadays trucks have huge towing capacities, so
the brakes are good.
The brakes that come with are really nice for a lot of people's applications.
Perfect. I want to answer a question here. Eric asked, is there a centralized location for finished photos of the Quadrolink? Eric, if you go onto our website under the projects tab, pretty much any vehicle on there has a Quadrolink. So if you just want to go through browse through our project photos, all of the finished photos of the cars are first, and pretty much every build we're doing here, we get under it and we snap some photos of what's going on underneath as well. So just visit the projects tab, and we'll have some some finished photos there for you, so you can check out what we do with the Quadrolink and how we run the brake lines and fuel lines and kind of what we do there. And then since we're talking about projects, when modifying outer wheel well lips, is it better to roll it or do you cut and re-weld? It's pretty much what do you do in the project shop?
I mean, that's pretty much 50-50. Some cars have an already kind of short lip, and when you have a short lip, you don't want to try and roll it because more than likely you'll start to crease or buckle the outer, like the bezel part of the fender lip. If it's got a longer lip, you've got more leverage, so you can shape it and roll it better. So really, that's kind of personal preference. I would say I usually cut them back and re-weld them. It seems like there's less chance of damaging the outer quarter at that point. But then again, that would also depend if it's a painted vehicle or if it's prior to body work. You obviously have a lot more leeway in what you do. So that one's really just personal preference.
Okay, very good answer. Kevin is asking, he has a 70 Nova and he has our 2-inch drop springs and sway bar up front. The rear is bone stock with original mono leafs. Would you recommend focusing on the rear and replacing the mono leafs, or should you just continue on what he's doing on the front?
Yeah, I mean, if it's a street car, I'd probably look at that multi-leaf drop spring that we offer.
Yeah, just because, I mean, I would say, if it's just drop springs and a sway bar in the front and stock in the rear, I think to kind of complement the front and balance the car out, you should touch on the rear a little bit. So you want to talk a little bit more about our multi-leafs?
Yeah, we do a 2-inch or 3-inch drop. So depending on what kind of stance you want, if you want level or a little bit of rake, we give you a little bit of an option. But, we can offer you urethane bushings and shackles, and of course the red Coney shocks that we offer for replacements while you're back there. I think it's our Speed Kit 1 basically. It's going to get you all that.
Yep, Speed Kit 1, and that kit starts at both of them, whether it's 3-inch or 2-inch drop, that's $925. And like Dan said, you get the Coney reds, you get upgraded bushings and shackles, and then you get our leaf springs as well. And these are brand new leaf springs.
So one of the questions I used to get with leaf springs is, we ship you a leaf spring, it's got a bushing in the front, which is a rubber bushing. That's really your comfort bushing, so you want something a little more compliable like rubber. Some people want to put your polyurethane in there or something, or Delrin, but a lot of times we'll keep something softer up front, and then the rear leaf spring bushing is your handling bushing. So there I think we include polyurethane bushings with that Speed Kit that Alex was talking about. We do Delrin too if you want to be a little more aggressive, but that's going to be a good set for that. So once you get that set, then you can move on to say like your upper and lower tubular control into the front. Then you really have a nice system once you add that nice steering box we have.
Yep.
So
perfect. Yeah, and like Dan said, we sell the Delrin leaf spring bushing kit as well. If you do want to upgrade that. So the bushings themselves, it's $295 for the front and the rear, and then we have the heavy duty shackle kit along with the Delrin bushings. It's $325. So that's an optional upgrade. But if it is just a street car, the standard Speed Kit 1 for $925, that's the best way to go. So definitely look to balance out your car, Kevin. Go ahead and do some rear suspension stuff before you want to readdress the front. Let's see. So about our 24.5-inch Detroit Speed rack and pinion. So we say that they only come in our hydroform subframes. Do we have any plans to maybe make a rack and pinion conversion kit for factory applications? And specifically, he has a 73 F body, so either a Camaro or Firebird, and his name is Jim.
Jim. Yeah, I mean, we do sell the rack and pinion separately, but it is designed to go in our subframe. If guys doing a custom frame or something, obviously they could use it and mount it and put it where you need to for bump steering and everything, but I don't think we really have any plans on having like a bolt-in conversion to put that rack into a 73 Camaro. Just because you'd almost have to cut the cross member to put the rack where it needs to be. And again, that's going back to why we have that nice steering box option.
Yeah, the steering box and all the fresh linkage. I mean, you still get a really good feel out of all those components. So it's kind of middle ground for something. I guess that there's not really a problem.
Do you want to take the time and effort to try and make something work that's not designed to go there, rather than just take these factory replacement?
It's a little bit marginal versus doing the whole hydroform frame with the rack. You get a lot more a lot more for your time and money out of the frame versus going the other way and just doing the $600 and freshening up all your steering linkages and tie rod ends and things of that nature. Because I mean, even in the shop here, we've built plenty of customer cars that we've left and just rebuilt all the factory steering components and ran the box on them. And a lot of people won't even tell a difference in the feel as long as everything is new and fresh. So
Cool. Here's a good question. Whatever happened to the Mustang fastback test car?
Well, man,
So about that.
well,
So that car, it was wrecked, and what had happened with the car is we sold it to a customer.
oh, hold on. Where are we starting? Because it was wrecked a lot of times.
Well, so the most recent time.
hell, even ran down that thing.
Well, because we repaired it.
So now it's morphed into a different project.
I mean,
Right.
now it's being rebuilt.
Yeah.
Again, it's actually out here on the frame table currently. Customer actually purchased it, and we're rebuilding the car. So honestly, here in about 3 weeks, it will be moving on to the body shop probably.
Right.
But yeah, it's on the frame table.
Yeah,
It's
it's gonna be nice.
It's been reflared. All of our suspension and stuff in it. We did flush mount glass, tucked the bumpers.
See, we were pretty much able to salvage as much as we could from the car, and it's still running the
Okay.
same power plant, that Roush Yates
Yep.
Illuminator. And so yeah, if you guys want, you can actually see that project now. It's on our projects tab. It's Chris's 1966 Mustang. So that car is coming back to life. It's going to be a customer's car now, and it'll be a really nice driver. You know, it'll be something
super
that
cool.
Oh yeah, I
yeah,
can't
it'll
see it.
be
Yeah.
something that he plans on, you know, driving the wheels off of it. And this is the same customer that also has that Daytona we're working on as well. So yeah, that car's coming back to life. You guys should be seeing more of it soon, and definitely make sure you stay tuned to our project updates, and we'll guys keep you in the loop on what's going on with that one.
Yep.
So Robbie here, he says the DSE frame for the 70 to 81 Camaro is well worth the investment. Thank you, Robbie. Glad you're satisfied with it.
Yeah, same type of deal. Obviously, we got the good bolt-on stuff, which really helps the stock subframe, but still, you're kind of limited with that geometry. So we came out with a clean sheet of paper when we did that subframe, and obviously put the rack and pinion where it needs to be, and everything else, and extra camber curves and all that. So that's definitely the way to go.
Absolutely. And then another question, is the Quadrolink worth the extra cost over the leaf spring kit? So pretty much what benefits would you be getting from the Quadrolink over the leaf springs?
Yeah, I mean,
It all depends on your plan with the car, the application. I mean, if you just want a really cool street cruiser and you're going to the shows on the weekends or daily in it, you know, nothing beats the simplicity of the leaf spring with just a good shock and a good spring. And then, you know, the more performance oriented you get, spirited driving, autocross, road course, you know, that's where your Quadrolink comes in, especially when you get into the good single and double adjustable shocks. We could do the floater upgrade on the rear end, so you get a good hub pack with the floater axles and everything like that. So it's just, you really have to be honest with yourself what you want to do with the car, and then address it as you see fit. So both of them are super good options. It depends really where your finished car is going to end up. Are you going to be at the cruise in, or are you going to be out, you know, banging it off of curbs on the track? So
it's not to say you can't do leaf spring and then in a couple of years you want to go to the Quadrolink. We've had plenty of guys do that.
Yep. Especially with the mini tub
Yeah.
leaf spring.
Right. Once you
And
get the
then
mini tubs
move on.
in, you're kind of opens you up to either
Yeah,
one.
exactly. Yeah, and once the mini tub's in here, you don't. I mean, I'd say when it comes to installing a Quadrolink kit, you know, we usually do the mini tubs at the same time,
Yeah.
and the mini tub is kind of like that's more work than the Quadrolink itself. You know,
It's a lot of it.
Hours wide, yeah.
When it comes to doing a mini tub and Quadrolink together,
Mhm.
the majority of the work is the mini tub.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So if you already have that out of the way,
Right.
it doesn't take that much to go ahead and, you know, mount up the panhard bar bracket and
Yep.
your link pockets. So yeah, definitely. There's no, you know, you can go ahead and then do the leaf spring mini tub kit, and then if you want to upgrade to the Quadrolink later on, that's definitely an option.
Mhm.
So.
Yeah. Yeah, we got plenty of guys that even they'll build their front stock subframe with our control arms. In 5 years when they're ready, they'll sell that for, you know, a good chunk, and then put that towards the subframe.
Mhm.
And
So it's an
be able to step
investment.
up. Yeah, exactly.
And again, you know, you drive it for a year or two, and then your interests with the car change, and you just upgrade it as necessary. So
Most car guys don't leave stuff alone, so
No
Exactly.
You know how that goes.
Yeah. Here's a quick one. This also ties in with Quadrolink. This is from Jerry, 82 Camaro. He wants to install a Quadrolink. He wants to know about the back seats. Can you still retain the factory seats? Because I know we were able to do that. So you want to kind of explain what you did to make that happen?
what did we say? It was an 82.
82.
Yeah.
So the link pockets do come through into the interior just a little bit. But basically, we put the seat back in there, and you basically mark out the foam and the plastic on the back side of the seat. It just takes a little bit of creative trimming, but they will go back in. We have several customers that have installed the Quadrolink and put the rear seat back in as well. So just like any of those kits, as long with tubs, there's always a little bit of work that you have to do to the seat structure and or foam. The first time we did our car, we even reused the original seat cover after we notched the seat foam. So definitely possible and fairly easy to do.
Awesome. Let's see. Well, I say we're closing in on 1 o'clock. Oh, is this a quick one?
Yeah, don't set us up with a hard one.
I definitely.
So much
don't
lunchtime.
want- Exactly.
Yeah.
I want to set you up with a hard one. So we got an Instagram question from Brad P674. He has a 69 Camaro. He has, but has not installed yet, the mini tub kit with the 3-inch leaf springs and a speed kit 2 front with standard coilovers. He has a wheel spec question. So he wants to run an 18x8 front and an 18x10 rear. He wants to know what offset and tire size would work best with that. So what should he do? Should he call in and speak to one of our guys and
Yeah.
get those
What
wheel
year
specs?
was it?
69 Camaro.
Yeah, I mean, the 18x8 in the front with a stock subframe fits good with a 245 4018, I believe, is a good 18x8 tire size. And in 69, 4 7/8, 5 inch is a good backspace number we usually recommend. The back, it's going to kind of depend if you're doing a stock axle, if you're narrowing it.
Exactly.
So that's probably a good one to call in. Talk to
Yeah.
the tech guys on, but
So,
we can help you with all of
Yeah,
that.
Brad, if you're on here, definitely give us a call. I mean, we have, our spec sheet. We can go ahead and run that over with you and see what will work best for your application. So let's go ahead and we'll do one last question. This one's from Dusty. He has a 79 El Camino, and I know Kyle's been bouncing back and forth with him answering some questions, but he's lowered the front 2 inches, and he wants to know if I lower the back 2 inches as well, would that give him a slight rake, or do you think it'd be level?
It depends on tire size, of course, but could be. I mean,
Yeah, that one's kind of a toss-up
Yeah.
because it depends. One thing you run into is some people have cars that the rear springs could have sagged, or they may be fine. So it's one of those things. It's kind of a toss-up just per application. Where you end up. I would think it would be at least level, if not a slight rake.
yeah.
Yeah, so 79 El Camino will be a G body. So I mean, if it is on our suspension, if you're just doing drop springs, obviously when something's that fresh, you'll have to jounce a little bit and let it, settle.
Yeah, they settle in over time.
So
Yeah.
at least off the get-go, if you already have the front lowered and you put fresh springs in the rear, it might have a little bit of a rake for a little bit, but once the suspension settles out, it should level out as well.
Yeah.
Especially if it's advertised, 2-inch front, 2-inch rear, it should level the car out.
And the other thing too is, if some people prefer a rake, you can always tune that in with the spring isolators on top as well.
Yeah, right.
People sand them down, people get thicker ones, so you're definitely not 100% locked in if you're not happy with it. And sometimes we even trim coil springs as well, so it's you definitely have options when you get into it.
Absolutely. So there you go, Dusty. If you have any more questions about that, just give us a call or shoot us an email, and we'd love to discuss that more with you. So we're a little past 1 o'clock now, so how do I make myself bigger? There we go. Okay. All right. So thank you guys for joining us. We got a ton of questions, and we weren't able to address every single one of them, but if you do want to email us your questions, it could be sales@detroitspeed.com for any product related questions, or you could hit us up at tech@detroitspeed.com for any technical questions you might have. I would say this was definitely a success, so we'll look to doing more of these in the future. We'll bring in different guests as well, and we can talk about different things, whether it's specific projects or specific products as well. So thank you guys for joining us. Just a reminder, at the top of the screen, on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe to our channel. We always post a ton of technical content there and just stuff that's going on around the shop. So that's the best way to stay in touch with what we're doing on a daily basis. Don't forget that offer as well. Use the code WEBCAST for 10% off your next order up until April 20th of this year. And if we didn't answer your questions, I already answered that one. I said that okay. All right, we're good. So that's it. That's it, guys. Thank you guys for tuning in. And this was Taking a Break with Detroit Speed, episode 1. So we'll see you soon.
Have a good one.
Yep,
Appreciate
see
it.
ya. Thanks.
See you guys.